if we want the lights. We'll try one dim set of lights. Hello. Hi, Miss Amy. I'm going to cut some twine while we wait for some others. Thought it might be a little easier to do this from my kitchen this morning since no one is here. Nobody's up here eating. Nobody's home for lunch. It's just quiet. Hi, Darcy. And that way I can move around and show you a little bit as I talk and explain, because the one project that I want to show you, I don't really want to move it from its current location because it was a little difficult for me to get it there. So I'll take you to it and show you before I explain. So welcome everyone, happy Friday. Gosh, I know you're seeing, you know, all of this Christmas stuff in the back. This is like this area right here. The main section, our living, kitchen, dining, is pretty much finished in terms of decorating, other than like small little tweaks, putting candle batteries in, fixing a couple of lights, some small little stuff like that. But for the most part, I think I have everything the way I want it. It just takes me so long. Hi, hello everyone. Hey Rita, hey Karen, to do all of it. And from year to year, like last year I decided I was doing neutral, which was mostly golds in this area. So I kept it like gold and white, and I did the red. I decorate our bedroom. So, cause you can see our bedroom kind of from the dining kitchen area a little bit. So I like to have a tree back there. So the tree back there is just kind of sitting on a table. It's a short tree. And then our main tree is over in the dining room, but I put a full tree in our bedroom. And then I put a tree in our basement. So it takes me a while. By the time I do all of the spaces and hopefully the front porch, it takes me a while, but by Thanksgiving, I like to be relaxed and able to enjoy Thanksgiving and know that like I have done the majority of this. I can enjoy Thanksgiving break with my kiddos being home and not have to think about this. I can like focus on the fun stuff, like what are we gonna make, the gingerbread houses, the baking, the cookies, and all of that. So I thought I would show you a couple things today. Yesterday morning, I posted a link to this week's YouTube video. So being that I had that interruption, those 5 months of not having access to this page when I was hacked, and having to start the new page. If you're new here or never made it over to the new page, to see that I was still continuing the Friday features over there, but every Thursday this summer, I started doing Thursday Thoughts, like a video, and typically it ends up being a YouTube video. So I've been trying hard to do kind of like I used to do the blog, but now I'm trying to do some kind of little video DIY or talk about some kind of decorating thing. So yesterday, I did a video. It's 4 minutes and 18 seconds if you want to go watch it. The link is in yesterday's post. So if you scroll back to yesterday, you'll see that post. And I kind of went around and took some pictures of how I used some of the greenery that is currently in the shop. And on the other page, not the last live sale, but the one before it, was just a greenery sale. And it was all of the new things that I have gotten this year that I ordered way back in January, came in August, but part of my order never came and probably never will. So I showed what I had in that greenery sale, but I also wanted, because a lot of you weren't ready to think Christmas at the time, and I think some people just need kind of a visual, well, where could I use that? How could I use that? And kind of see how I had some ideas. So I put that in a video yesterday. It's not me walking around, it's just photos of different things that I did, but I will kind of take you to a couple of those things today. And one of the projects I want to show you today is on my mantle. Hi Kathleen, so I'm gonna take you there because I don't want to move it from my mantle because it's kind of nestled in all the greenery and I had a hard time getting it in there and not knocking everything over. So I'll take you over there, show you what I'm gonna explain to you as how I did that. And I have a Maker's Market project as well that I can show you. I added these two, well, I added a pair of these. These are just plain old green, evergreen sprays, is I guess what you would call them. This one's kind of fanned out so you can see it. And this one isn't, but I put sets of two. And I'm going to show you what I made with this, with a pair of these, and how you can use it in your Christmas decor, maybe in other seasons too. Hi, Michelle. Hey, Mary. And I had a couple of ideas I'm going to make one thing and show you how to use it at least 3 different ways using this. All right. Yay. Aw, it's so good to see you. Hey, Susan, Marion. Hey, Aunt, Robin. Okay. Before I forget, our winner from last week for commenting, because remember, you go into the pot for the $5 credit. Hey, Lucky decided to make an entrance over here. He's not sure what I'm doing though. Was Lindsay Bellich. Lindsay is a very lucky winner. Lindsay participates a lot in things like this, especially in our Boxed Up group, and Lindsay wins quite frequently. She is a very, I don't know, I need to have her luck. So Lindsay is the winner of the $5 credit for commenting on last week's Friday features. I have a couple of announcements to tell you about that are exciting before I go, but first, let me take this off and take you over. Let me flip this around. And I'm going to take you over here. So this is the project that I was talking about. So these letters did not used to stand on these candle holders. I had made these letters, oh gosh. Hey, Lindsay, did you hear? Did you hear me just announce that you won last week's credit and how you are our lucky, you're like the My Home Matters lucky winner. Because you win, you participate and therefore you win. So like they say, the lottery, you have to enter. You can't win without entering, right? All right, so let's see if I can spin them around without messing anything up. So they're just thick, plain wood letters that I bought probably from Michael's, like probably a good 5-6 years ago. And if you look behind, you can kind of see, you can see a little bit of green. I had painted this green pattern because way back, see, there's greens underneath of there, and it wants to keep getting caught on the green. So that's why I don't want to take it out. It's probably going to fall over on me. But I had chairs in here. My very first My Home Matters project, what started it all, was recovering 2 reclining wingback chairs. And I had them here in this section with the table in between. And they were like, I covered them in like a terracotta orange. So nothing went with them when it came time to decorate for Christmas. Like my reds that I loved to decorate with didn't go. I never even really thought about using neutrals or golds at the time. So I went with green back then. So I had done something on these in greens, and I used these in a different place. But this year I had them up in the attic and I saw them there and I thought, okay, well, I put these candles over here on the left, and I wanted something to kind of mirror them or kind of mimic the height on the other side with something red. So I thought, okay, well, I need to raise them up. So I grabbed some candle holders. These are in the Maker's Market. So these, were like one of the first things I put in the Maker's Market. We got lots of candle holders, and I whitewashed them. I did mine in like a whitewash brown. But this is what I'm going to show you here. I'm going to show you how I did it. So there's greenery up there that I've gotten up. You can still see the orange. The porch is still fall. The porch is out there one season, and we've got Christmas on the inside. But they're over there. You can see, I can zoom in, that I've got the candle rings. Those are the Bristlecone candle rings up on my, now I can't zoom back out. There we go. Up on my cabinet doors there. So I can show a little bit more if you want when I'm done, but I don't have any of those thick letters right now, but I do have letters, like random letters downstairs. So I just thought I'd take one just to give you the idea of how I did this. I did a video about this probably a couple years ago, about how I covered my lampshade in the bedroom, the one that sits on my nightstand, in that fabric, kind of the fabric rosettes. And I also could have shown you, let me just go back this way. This is also the same thing that I did on our family frame that I made here. So this is what I'm talking about. So to do this, I'm going to show you how, if it's something that you would be interested in. It just kind of softens up the hardness of those wooden letters. So you would paint it. You would paint whatever color. So if I were going to do that again, I would have painted them red, but they were already done. I don't know why I didn't paint them red before I put the red fabric on. I was probably in too big of a hurry and just wanted to try. So let me put this down like this. Now this is not linen fabric. It's the closest thing I have right now to linen, but linen is what you would want to use. It's a very lightweight, you know, like if you wear linen, it's very wrinkly. But basically all you do, this is a mason jar lid, like the, you know, the insert to the mason jar lid. All you do, all I have here is a Sharpie, is you would trace that. And mason jar lid is about, this is like the bigger mason jar. Is that a quart size, I guess? So I would trace something that's about that size. Hopefully my scissors are decent. And I would cut a whole bunch of these circles out. So you could fold the fabric, and they don't have to be perfect, but you could fold the fabric over so that you could cut multiple layers at once. But it takes a good bit of these. And I probably made my joy letters a little tighter, the fabric a little tighter than I would have now. But basically all you do is cut a whole bunch of these out. Then you kind of fold it in quarters and pinch it down here at the bottom. And then you just trim off just a little bit of that to make a little hole. It just kind of forms a flat surface. So pretend this is painted. Pretend this is whatever pretty color linen that you would want. Then you would take a hot glue gun. Try not to knock my water over at the same time. And you would put a little dollop of glue. Whoops, there it is. On the bottom. And you would just kind of start on the edge by pressing it on like that. So it's really hard because my fabric, if I had thought way more ahead, I could have stopped and gotten just a little bit of fabric, linen fabric in a color that would show up. But that's all I'm doing, is I'm just sticking it on to the wood. So if you had a pretty color, and then once they're all put together, now I wouldn't use Sharpie, I would maybe use pencil or cut inside that, because you can kind of, I don't know if you can tell, I didn't cut very good. You can see my Sharpie line. But then once you put them all, like nestle them up next to each other, I put one right next to the others. And I just kind of randomly, maybe not perfect rows, but kind of alternate them randomly to make sure that the whole surface is covered. And then in the end, you have what looks like a floral piece. So that's how I did my joy letters. And then for the base, I whitewashed them. Now I've done whitewash quite a bit, so I don't know if I need to show that again. But basically when you whitewash, where'd my white paint go? I brought white paint up. So I thought, I swear I brought white paint up. I must have walked away with it somewhere. So I guess I won't be showing you, but you're gonna dip a chip brush. These are good because there's a lot of space between the bristles. Dip the chip brush in the white paint. I feel like I'm looking at it and it's staring me in the face, but no idea where I put that. I even carried it up like this with the paint on here, and I had all these other things in my hand. I had my chin holding it up. I have no idea what happened to it. But you would just gently dry brush, so very light, get some paint on, kind of get the excess off, dry brush over here. The more gaps you have in the paint, the more it's gonna take the stain when you put the stain over top. the more you have it covered in paint, the less it's going to show the stain through. But you'll get like this textury look from it. But I did this in one of our previous videos. I used this Early American stain. After the paint is dry, I take and rub with a paper towel or a shop cloth over that white, and it just gives like a dimension, almost like a textured feel. You can do it with gray if you want more of a gray feel, but even using the brown, sometimes in spots will give it like a really dark gray, and then others it'll be a brownish feel, like a creamy feel. So you never know what you're gonna get, and that's why I like it, because they always end up looking different. So that's what I did with the letters, and because they were thick enough, now you couldn't do it with this thin of a letter, but because they were thick enough, I just took some hot glue and glued it once these were all dry, and then I stuck my letters on top there. The ones that I had like a flat bottom because they were meant to stand up on their own. So I just glued enough so that I could prop it up on there. And that way I got it up out of the greenery so that you could see it. So that's the little project I wanted to mention there. But like I said, I forgot that I even did it on my family photo. I've done it for a whole lampshade, those joy letters, and then that family photo frame. So I've done it more than I thought. Okay, flower fill-ins with crepe paper. Oh, that's interesting too. Yeah, I would imagine it's the same idea with crepe paper. I wish I had the linen. I'm not sure what this is. It's close, but it doesn't have that soft linen feel. It feels almost not like muslin, but you can still kind of get the idea. Anyway, so you could do that on a lot of things. You don't have to do it on letters. You could do it on just a picture frame or something. So as for the greenery project, so like I said, the YouTube video shows a lot of our recent greenery from the shop, which are really quality pieces. I really, really like them. Now, if you're looking for something that's, you know, relatively inexpensive, a set of these we have in the shop for $5. They're not, you know, they're just your standard, I don't know what you call it, your standard green. The greenery that we have in the shop is a really good quality. It's just, I am kind of becoming obsessed with it to the point where I kept going down and grabbing more, and I'm like, well, if these sell, it's gonna have to come off of my, you know, off my dining room chairs, because I don't, you know, I'm just trying to use them to show, but I really like using them. I'm like, I kind of want to keep them all, but I would keep like the whole inventory that I have down in storage if I did that. So I thought I would just show you another option. So I took these two and I kind of just put them together and overlapped the two stems like that. And then you could use, like I have a whole bin of these zip ties. You could use wire, you could use twine, anything really, but I just connected them together. And then you could use multiple, actually. You could, you know, do that in multiple places. I'm gonna do this first and then see how many more I want to put in. But they spread apart nicely, and now I'm not, Amy, who's watching, is probably our expert bow maker now. She's a wonderful wreath maker, so don't laugh, Amy, at my bows. But I'm going to show what I did to get the look of, let me grab it, the picture that I showed you in the post earlier today. So this is what I'm going to make. So this is one thing that you could do with these pieces like this. So let me put this off to the side. So to get my bow to look like that, what I did was, now this is only good on one side. It's only got the pattern on one side. So, and I'm sorry that this is like behind, I can't put you, it's easier if I do tutorials like this, if I have the video right over my shoulder looking down. But basically, I'm just forming, uh-oh, now my phone's gonna go dead. I'm just forming, I forgot I didn't charge it last night. Let me check and let me see if my charger is ready to go. I don't know if there's any charge on my portable charger. Hey, we're in luck. Let's see if I can get this so we can stay live. Oops, kind of helps if you do it the right way. Usually when I need something like this, it's not charged. Thank you, Amy. All right. I hope that's charging. I can't tell. It didn't make the little ding noise that it's plugged in. But basically, I'm just taking and making a loop. So I'm just folding one piece over the other so that the good sides are out, making a loop, pinching it together. So here's the tail. Now, if I want to go and make another loop, to keep the good side showing, what I'm going to do is twist this back piece while I'm pinching it. So I'm going to twist it so that the good side is showing again. And that way I can bring another loop back towards the center. And then I'm going to pinch that again. So now the bad side is showing, the back side is showing again. So once again, I'm going to twist that just to make the good side showing. And I'm going to make a third loop. I'm just going to do 3. So I'm going to pinch that all together. So there's 1, 2 on this side and 1 on this side, a tail here. And then this back side is showing again. So for the tail on this side, I'm going to twist it again just to get the good side showing. And then I'm going to clip that off. So I have 2 loops here, 1 loop here, a tail here, and a tail here. The tails are kind of both on this side. So it almost looks like 1, 2, 3 things on this side, and then you have these 2 loops over here. Now I'm just going to use a piece of twine to tie this in a knot, and you'll see why. You could use wire. Just make sure that the wire has some long ends, because I'm going to use this twine actually to tie it onto the top of my lantern later when I'm done. So with one hand, I'm going to try to pull that tight and then double knot it. But again, you could use wire. Just leave some long tails with the wire so you have something to wrap it on. So basically what I'm going to do is, that's my first layer. I'm going to do the same thing with 3 loops for the next layer and layer it over top, but I'm going to have 2 loops on this side and 1 loop on this side. And then my third layer was 2 loops on each side with a smaller ribbon. So here's layer 1, layer 2 is this next ribbon, and then this is my third. So I'm going to do the same thing using a different, but coordinating. I just wanted them to be coordinating. Hello everyone who's joining. Again, I'm just going to make one loop, fold that over, pinch it together. So there's a tail and there's the back side showing right here. So twist it. It doesn't matter which way you twist it, whichever way seems more workable. Twist it so the good side is showing up again. Bring it back to the center. Pinch it together again. So now I have a loop on each side and a tail. And I need to twist to get the good side back up, facing up. And then I can bring it to the center again and twist. This would be a lot easier if I could put the camera over my shoulder, like I said. But so there's my 2 loops, my 1 loop on this side, a tail and a tail. And I have another piece of twine cut. There we go. So again, I just wanted the twine because it worked out well for me earlier when I went to tie it on my lantern. The hardest part is just doing it with one hand, trying to get it tied in a knot. Double knot. So now I've got, and it doesn't matter what order. So now that I have 2 loops on this side and 1 on this one, I will arrange them so that this, on the top one, it's the opposite. 2 loops over here and 1 loop over here. And then you just have these tails kind of hanging wherever. It's not really gonna matter where everything is. It's just kind of to get that layered feel so that you can move them around and see what they look like together. You could just go with 2 and be done. So I'm just gonna let them sit on top of each other, and then the last one, again, just a coordinating. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna make a loop, except this time instead of 3 loops, I'm gonna do 4. Or I guess you could just do 2. I just decided to do an even number because I did, you know, the 3 total loops on the bottom, then the 3 total loops on the next gives you an even number of loops. Then for this top one, I decided to do an even number. So I went with 4. So I'm twisting every time I make a loop to make sure that the good side is facing out. And then I twist again when it's time to cut that last tail. So there's my 4 there, 4 loops. So this time, if I take a piece of twine, I'm going to, let's see if I can do this all at one time rather than tying this bow and then tying it. So I'm not even really picking a specific way that I'm laying it on there. I'm just laying it on there, right in the middle, keeping the middle tight. And then that last piece of twine, I'm just gonna tie around all of it. Get all these other pieces out of the way. Hopefully you can see. So I'll pull that as tight as I can without breaking it. Double knot it. So then I have all these pieces here. So that gives me like plenty of things that I can use to tie around. You needed the 2 well, I still don't think I'm the greatest at making bows, but I can kind of fake it until I make it. So that's kind of what I've been doing. When you have these layered looks, it kind of makes it look like you know what you're doing. And then you can just poof them a little bit like that. And then your tails kind of just loosely hanging. You can cut them down if you want to. Then what I do, I like to make the V shape at the end. So I fold them in half and cut them at different lengths to make a V. So I'll do that real quick on all of them. And you can cut them down more if you want. But I just try to make them kind of wispy, all different lengths, and then poof them when I'm done. I don't know if there's a better word, but poof, poof, foof, poof, and foof. All right, I think I got them all. So yeah, so you can just kind of go in there, get your fingers in the bows and sort of get your fingers in the loops, I guess, and just sort of open them up a little bit. But then you can use one set of these to kind of tie around your greenery here in the middle. And again, if you had wire, it would work just the same. And I'll clip this little zip tie off. But now you actually could just use this, let me step back a little bit, as some kind of topper. So whether it's these greens, which, you know, you could even add some of those little inserts, like the little sprigs that you can buy in the little bins at the different craft stores, you know, berries, or maybe there's one with bells. Sometimes you can find those little picks that have presents on them. You could just kind of insert them. But you could use this, you know, you could rig up your twine pieces in the back in a way that you create a loop that you could hang this, like I use, I don't know if there's, if I turn this way. So like over a clock, for instance, over, what else did I use? Over the mirror, in above my mantle, over just a rectangular. So you can kind of curve it if it's something round that you want it to kind of form to, but you could keep it straight if you wanted to put it over something that's more squared off. Even if you had, I've seen people use these, I can't remember where I saw this, but like if you had a set of bookshelves and you have like space at the top of the bookshelves where the molding is, that you could just put a command hook at the top, and or even a couple of command hooks, one on each side, so that you could hook it on each side. You could decorate like the top of your shelves with something like this. But to put it on, I think I'm gonna do, I have another lantern. So the one that I already did is in front of our fireplace. So this one is in our entry. So I have this out all year, but now for Christmas, I could just take a couple of these pieces of string. And because I have a bunch, it gives me a little bit more to grab onto because it's thin. And then you could just wrap it around, tie it onto the top, as long as you have something to tie it to. Tie it on there. I'll tie mine in a bow. That makes it easier to get off. And then you can shape it. So you may need more wire ties to, to keep the greens that you originally tied together. But then you just kind of shape it and conform it to the top of your, whatever you are using it on. So there's a second one. So it just gives, I don't know, a little shazam to the top of, an otherwise everyday lantern. Turns it into a Christmas lantern. So that's one thing you could do. And then the other thing that I thought about doing, which I'll take it back off to show you, because I should have showed you this first. If you go to Target, if you frequent Target as much as I do, you probably know this already. But I discovered the other day, so let me take you off here, and I'll take you in there. I gotta take my charger. We'll go back in. They have in the dollar bins, well, they call them dollar bins, but they're $1, $3, $5. So these little logs, are like paper towel holders. Like when you pick them up, it's very deceiving. When the first time I picked them up, I was like, whoa, those are like, there's nothing to them. And when I handed them to the cashier, she was like, whoa, that's not what I was expecting. So my son and I had some fun tricking everybody, but they're very, very lightweight. But an easy centerpiece. I mean, one thing you could do, I had this one. This is one that, another one I've had for a long time. Whoa, check out I've got some crazy spider webs inside that fireplace. But this is just something I had that was for a mirror or, a door or something. You could just kind of lay it on there like that. But I was also thinking that it would make a cute centerpiece if you, now obviously not here on the floor of the mantle, but if you kind of put two of them together, maybe wrapped it in a pretty bow and added some greenery, or if you just kind of topped it like that, that would look really pretty on a coffee table, on, if you have a kitchen table that's not huge, that would be a great centerpiece as well. Or you could use longer ones and decorate kind of the same way. So those are just some things that I thought of that you could do with these. What else did I want? So I've got my project this was a kit we did back in July that you could do Christmas, patriotic, or every day. And then I've got my blocks. I chose the Silent Night. But again, you can hang greenery pretty much anywhere. You can hang them off of sleighs. I've kind of, and there's an example of where you can, kind of put a couple things together. Now, obviously, those are a little bit more elaborate, and those are from pieces in the shop. This is the Bristlecone Cedar Garland on top of like some filler garland underneath. You don't really need a lot. If you want a full mantle, all it takes is like, a basic filler piece underneath. And then I used the cedar garland, but also some filler hanging cedar, bristlecone hanging cedar. And all of those are in the shop. I mean, you can use the candle rings just to add a little bit around other things. Over here, this is the half sphere. So if you put it on top of a cake stand, just the half sphere alone can be a decoration. And like I said in my video yesterday, these are the half spheres also. Now, this is not a toolbox from my shop, but I do still have some unfinished toolboxes. This is one that I've had for years and years before we ever started doing toolboxes. But these are just the Bristlecone half spheres, 3 of them, resting on top of the dividers because I can't put them inside. But it makes it kind of appear to be full. So many things that you can do with greenery. I'm still trying to find the lights that go, the lights are supposed to have these little pine cones, but mine seem to all be missing. So I'm hoping they show up in one of the bins as I bring them down. But just so many different ways that you can use the greenery. And, you know, I still have things from Costco that showed up on the porch that are in the entry. So while it might appear that things are put together, don't be deceived. Only certain spots are kind of put together. Here's the little hat from the holiday box. These are my tiered tray pieces from different things. So just trying to incorporate the greenery with the soft with the hard, and then again, over on my chandelier, I like to use it on the lighting. This is a Bristlecone Cedar garland. This is one garland. 1 6-foot garland was perfect to fit around my chandelier. These are the Bristlecone Cedar candle rings. And then you can clip them apart even. I hate to do that because it's so pretty, but I love using the cedar. It's my favorite, but you can do that with any of the pine, anything. So I like to insert it into different spots, just like, you know, this tray on my little floating shelves and all of those places. So I wanted to kind of try to do this right away because I know sometimes it just takes some inspiration or some ideas. And trust me, I scour for ideas every year. I'm always like creating new Pinterest boards, trying to think, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And then I swear I do what I want to do. And then I see everybody else, you know, doing their thing. And I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done that. Maybe next year. So I feel like I'm always thinking of ideas and thinking, what could I do in a different year if I want to switch my colors up? But I don't like to totally switch. Like I try to switch between the red and white and the neutrals because I have the bedroom that I can switch. You know, our bedroom is fairly large and I can use a good bit of it in there. So I can switch back and forth. Store, you know, but I don't want to have to store every single color under the moon. So anyway, last couple things I wanted to mention. Let me get this back. So we switched. So for those of you that are already getting our emails, great. But for those of you that were having trouble with the emails, we switched our platform. I mentioned that we were going to try to do that. I talked about that last week. We did switch it over, and the first newsletter that went out on the new platform was Tuesday. So if you got and I know that it was successful for some people that weren't getting them before. So we're super, super happy. This new program will allow us to do so much more, and we're already seeing lots of positive things since we switched over. But it also allows us to have the texting capability, where we had that before, but we were using a different program. We weren't crazy about that program either. So if you were on our texting list, you will still end up being on our current texting list, but our number has changed. So we do have a new text number. If I was using StreamYard, I could put it up on the screen. But you will be getting, so if you got a text before this live, it was under the old program. If you're already in our texting list, you will automatically be in the new number. Just know that it will be under a new number. We couldn't get it, we couldn't choose our number because we were going to try to make it something catchy, you know, that you could just remember, that something had HOME in it, but our number has no way of getting any kind of word whatsoever. But if you have not signed up for our SMS, for our texting messages, what we think it's going to help us do also is enable you to know like tracking information. So if we've sent something that you needed shipped, we hope that it will also be able to tell you via text in addition to the emails that go out. But when we're done, Darcy is going to send something out to anybody who's already on that texting list, telling you what the new number is so that you can switch it up in your contacts. And the nice thing is that it should say My Home Matters on it, whereas it wouldn't say that before. Oh, good. Oh, good. Because I know Amy was having that problem too, Kathy. So there, like certain, certain email providers weren't going through. Like I know Zoom Internet was an issue. Some Comcast were issues, not all, but like we can see on our end who has received it, whose inbox it has reached. And we could see that it was going there, and we could see that it wasn't being clicked on, it wasn't being opened, but we were getting messages from some people saying, I'm not seeing it, so I can't click on it. But on our end, it was looking like it went through. So we weren't sure what the jam up was there, but we're hoping that all of that is going to be alleviated now. So I'm glad that that is working out. But the texting, I don't know, like I said, we don't have a cute little way we can remember the number, but I told Darcy said, I like the number because I can remember it now. There's like 3 sets of double digits. And I said, oh, I was trying to think earlier today, how could I remember this number? And I started singing Jingle Bells. I'm like, it works perfectly to Jingle Bells. It's like, all right, 855-449-0117, 855-449-0117. I won't do any more. I won't torture you with the rest. But 855-449, which actually is a local 3 digits in the Pittsburgh area, 449-0117. So if you're already on that list, you should be getting another one with the updated number, and we'll update all of that everywhere else. It is not for customer service. We still want you to use the support email for that. And Darcy is the face behind the support email. So Darcy Ferguson, who joins on here and sometimes put the links in, she is the person behind the support email. So if you have any issues like billing, account issues and kinds of things like that, that's where you would send your message. You need to think, I can't see the whole comment. I was so excited. I was like, she said, I love that I can remember the number now because there's double digits in all 3 sections. And I'm like, I don't know why I started singing Jingle Bells with it. And now for 30 minutes, I've been singing Jingle Bells with our new number, trying to memorize it ourselves. So, Darcy, is there anything I'm forgetting? So there you go. Darcy put a message there with the texting number. So if you're not on it already, you can text home. So we were able to say, if you text the word home to that number, it will automatically ask you, do you want to opt in? And then you just click yes. And we don't bombard you with text, but we like to tell you when I'm going to go live. You know, don't forget the live sale is starting in 10 minutes, or don't forget Friday feature starts in 10 minutes, that kind of thing. But just like email, we don't like bombard you with texts and emails. But so we were excited about that news, and I think that's it. I hope that you had some ideas. I would really appreciate if you would go back to yesterday's YouTube video and click that link and go watch it. Like I said, it's only 4 minutes, but hopefully it will give you some ideas. And the link to the greenery is in the description of that post, but it's also just in the shop. So when you go to the shop, when you go to the website, lauraklieberhome.com, and click on order and shop, you're going to look under the finished items. Shop our finished items, and greenery is its own section. So greenery, unless it's something like today's greenery, that are pieces that we used in a box at some point and we had extras of, unless it is something like that, it will be in its own section. Now today's greenery that I showed you is in the Maker's Market, but all of the other greenery that I showed you around the house, that's all in its own section of the shop, and that's where it will typically be. So have a great weekend. I am going on a date with my daughter this evening to go see a dance performance, if I can clear my throat, a dance performance at Grove City College. So I'm excited about that. and I need to go get a cone of shame for my poor Lucky, because he is not letting his little issue from the other day, his little dew claw, he won't let it alone. And they said, don't let him lick at it. So our cone is no longer any good. I've got to go get the poor dog his little cone of shame so that he stays away from his dew claw for a few days. Thank you for all, and thank you. Oh, great. I'm glad. I just hope you get some inspiration, or you get to learn something every week, something. I just hope that it helps somebody somehow, even if it's just cheering up your Friday. I don't know. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone.